Does your child or student have a 504 plan? Then you've come to the right place. If they have a disability or need additional support and you want a 504 plan or a better one, then you're going to be sitting in a ton of 504 meetings. That's why inside this video, I'm taking you behind the scenes of 504 meetings with 5 tips so you know what to do before the meeting and how to advocate to get the best 504 for their needs. Hey, what's up? I'm April Rarig, your special education advocate to make IEPs and 504 plans so much easier. If you're new here, go ahead and click on that subscribe button to get more videos like this in your inbox every week, and follow us on Instagram at Rise Ed Advocacy. Here's what you need to know about 504 plans. Section 504 is a civil rights statute enacted by U.S. Congress. What does this mean? It means that unlike an IEP, Section 504 has different rules and procedures that govern its provisions. So, case in point, pro tip. An IEP eligibility is going to look different than a 504 eligibility. Also, under Section 504, it's federally mandated and not state-specific like an IEP. To get you started and to understand exactly what it means in order to qualify for a 504, make sure to check out my eligibility comparison guide that compares an IEP to a 504 so you know exactly what to expect. Make sure to keep watching this video where I'm going to give even more tips and resources so you can advocate like a pro. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. The first tip or thing that you need to do before a 504 meeting is communicate in writing. What am I talking about? I'm talking about that most parents use phone calls, parent-teacher conferences, showing up to a school meeting. All of this is nice, but it doesn't go in your child's educational record. What am I saying? I'm saying that no matter how many times you call, how many times that you have an intervention meeting, it is not going to go inside your child's education record. This is a problem because, pro tip, in order for your school to respond to you with what's called free appropriate public education, also known as FAPE, you need to put your concerns in writing to document your requests and to get your school to respond to you. That's why from here on out, everything needs to be done in writing. Now, what about if your child needs a 504 and you're like, oh my gosh, how do I get the process started? What are the steps? Make sure to check out our video, How to Get a 504 Plan, with 3 easy steps to get you started. Grab the link in the description box below. So we've talked about tip 1, written communication. Now it's time to talk about tip 2. Tip 2 has to do with something called a parent letter of attachment. So here's the awesome thing that your school doesn't tell you, pro tip. Through something called Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, also known as FERPA, you can attach your parent input to your child's educational record. Did you know that? It's one of the most powerful ways that you can document your child's needs. More about FERPA in just a minute, so hold on to that thought. When you think about it, in order to advocate effectively before your child's next 504, it all comes down to knowing what to ask for and how to get it, and doing things proactively instead of reactively afterwards. I've got a resource called The 10 Keys to Effective Communication that has tons of tips that helps you strategize so that you have a better tools in your resource box to knowing what to ask for and how to get it. Make sure to grab the link to our free guide in the description box below. So now it's time to dive into tip 3. Tip 3 is going to have 2 parts. Part 1 has to do with getting a copy of your child's 504 plan. So here's the deal, pro tip. Remember earlier I talked about FERPA? So a 504 plan is going to be part of your child's educational record. What am I talking about? I'm talking about that 504 plans should be inside your child's educational record, and you as parents should have a copy. Now, if this is going to be your child's first 504 plan meeting, don't stress. I've got you covered. Make sure to keep watching this video. Now it's time to jump into the second part of what we're going to talk about, and this has to do with gathering educational records or your child's academic report. What am I saying? I'm saying that when you walk into a 504 plan meeting, everybody else is going to have paperwork except for you. You don't want this. So you can get a copy of your child's last report card, progress reports, all of those emails the teacher's been worried and sending you. If your child has been suspended or disciplined, yep, you can bring that too. You need to gather evidence and document reasons in order to justify why your child needs a new 504 plan or a better one. So that's exactly why you need to have a copy of the 504 plan and all of those records in place. So let me ask you something. What is inside a 504 plan? Do you know how to read one? That's why I want you to check out my free video, How Do You Read a 504 Plan, that rolls it out in terms of the 5-part definition so you know exactly what to expect inside your child's 504 plan and it doesn't just roll over your eyes when you walk in the door. Make sure to grab the link in the description box below. Okay, so we've talked about tip 1, tip 2, tip 3. Now it's time to dive into tip 4 in terms of what you need to do before your child's 504 meeting. Let's talk about outside evaluation reports and what's called a parent report. More about parent reports in just a minute. First of all, what is an outside parent report? So think about this pro tip. Are you currently getting outside tutoring for your child? Are they going to therapy outside of school? Do they have a disability? Do they have a diagnosis? Do you have to go to the doctor? Are they missing school? Are there health conditions? All of this is documentation to justify what your child needs in terms of accommodations, modifications, other supports. And if you get your therapist, if you get your doctor, if you get whoever works with your child, even yourself, to write a letter and say, here is what I'm working on with the student, here is what they need, and here is what they recommend, you can bring this to your child's 504 meeting. It is so powerful to document and to get more help. The other aspect is, like I mentioned earlier, a parent report. Now, what is a parent report? A parent report is you, the parent, writing down all the things you're doing with your child at home. So in an IEP meeting, there's something called present levels of academic achievement and functional performance. But inside a 504 plan, mostly it's just the school talking about stuff. But you as the child's parent or guardian do so much more. Yes. So you have so much information, and pro tip, you know your child better than anyone else, so why not write your own parent report? Inside your parent report, you can document what you're doing at home, how much time you're spending with homework, all of the things that you're doing to support your child, and you're furthering and supporting that parent letter of attachment that I talked about earlier. So let me ask you something. When it comes to accommodations and modifications, there's so much misunderstanding and there's so much drama. Let's clear this up. Make sure to get my free guide, Accommodations versus Modifications, that clearly spells out what's an accommodation, what's the modification, are they the same or are they different? Make sure to grab the link in the description box below. Perhaps you're watching this video and you're thinking, you know what, April, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if my child needs a 504 plan anymore. Maybe they need an IEP. What's the difference between a 504 plan and an IEP, and how do you choose right? That's exactly why I want you to check out my video that clearly lays out the differences between an IEP and a 504 plan, how they're the same because there are some aspects that are crossovers, and how they're different so you can choose right for your child. Make sure to grab the link in the description box below. Okay, so now we're here at the end, tip 5 of what to do before your child's or student's 504 meeting. So this is something that's very obvious, but it isn't very obvious because if you think about going to 504s, if this is your first meeting coming up or if you've been to tons of them. And here's the problem, pro tip, whether you're a parent or a teacher or an admin, more than likely you haven't been trained. What am I talking about? That they don't give you a manual when you walk into your child's or student's 504 plan. If you work in a school, and I'll tell you from being a school psychologist and a teacher for almost 20 years, we had like one training on 504s. And even then, half the time the team was like, what the heck is going on? I don't know what it is. And like I mentioned earlier, 504 plans are federally regulated. So there is information online, but the problem is you have to sift through so much. So if you are going to your child's 504 meeting coming up, then you need to educate yourself on what to expect when it comes to the 504 policies, procedures, and yes, pro tip, there are parent safeguards. So if you understand what to ask for and how to get it, remember I've been talking about that, then you're gonna have a better experience at the 504 table. And you're gonna walk into the 504 meeting feeling so much better because you know exactly what to expect. You know the rules, you know the policies, and you've got your parent letter of attachment or your parent report. And oh my goodness, you have a copy of the 504. The school is not gonna wanna know what to do with you. So I've got something called the Ultimate 504 Guide. It's almost 40 pages in length, and it lays out all the federal guidelines. It has fillable templates. It has all this information that spells out what you need to do before your child's next 504 and how to advocate like a pro. It's a digital guide, but I take a physical copy with me to every single meeting, and it is such a game changer. Make sure to grab the link in the description box below. So now you know 5 tips when it comes to what to do before your child's or student's 504 meeting. So let me ask you something. What's the one thing that you want to do differently before you walk in the door? It's a really good one. Got a question? Make sure to type it in the description box below. Want me to do another video? Yep, you can do it there too. Make sure to check the link in the description box below for my videos, guides, toolkits, and Ultimate 504 Guide. Follow us and subscribe to get more videos like this in your inbox every week. And check us out at Instagram at Rise Ed Advocacy. I'm April Rarig, your special education advocate. I can't wait to see you for our next video.